So previously we constructed this column called EPS last year, which contains the earnings per share in the prior 4 quarters relative to the current row. So this is going to be used for another ratio called PE ratio, the price earnings ratio. Okay, so PE ratio is basically the current stock price divided by the earnings in the prior year. Okay, so that's called a trailing PE ratio. To construct the PE ratio, well, because we need to use the price information, and price information is located under the historical daily table. So we're going to actually construct the PE ratio in this table. So I'll just click on this table, and I'm going to click on new column, and I'm going to paste my DAX code here. So now let me explain how this DAX code works. Okay, again, I'm using several steps in this code. So each step is represented by an intermediate variable. Okay, so the first step is I'm going to use this index function, which we introduced before, to work on this historical daily table. All right, so first of all, the match by argument basically check and make sure historical daily data is identified by stock symbol and date. Okay, that's for sure because we already construct that historical daily table, and we know it's each row of it is identified by a stock symbol and a particular date. So this match by, again, as we introduce the index function, we talk about this those arguments in more detail. So match by makes sure this historical daily table has a unique combination of identifiers. So here the identifiers are stock symbol and date. And the next index function is gonna work on this historical daily table and partition it according to the combination of stock symbol and the year quarter. So basically, the historical daily table is going to be split into several groups of partitions. Okay, each partition is related to a particular stock in a particular year quarter. For example, Apple in the fourth quarter of 2023 is going to be one partition. Okay, the next partition could be Apple in the third quarter of 2023. Okay, so things like that. So that's how the partition works. So once the partition is formed, then the index function is going to use this order clause or order argument to order within each partition according to the date and in an ascending order. So as I said, in this particular partition where we have Apple in the third quarter of 2023, okay, within this partition, the order by argument is gonna rank the dates in that particular quarter in ascending order. Okay, so basically after utilizing this partition by, match by, and order by, this historical daily table is going to be sorted such that Power BI can easily retrieve within a particular partition a particular date. Okay, so for example, you want to retrieve the first trading day for Apple in the third quarter of 2024. Well, because the partition is already set up, you can easily retrieve the particular partition corresponds to Apple in the third quarter of 2024. Then within that partition, because all the trading days are ordered in ascending order, you can easily retrieve the first trading day from that partition. Okay, so in our particular application, we actually try to retrieve the last trading day of a stock symbol on a particular year quarter. Okay, we try to retrieve this by using the -1 argument. -1 means the last position in this current partition. Okay, so when I say the current partition, well, that's related to this row context, because PE, this thing, is a calculated column. So each row in a calculated column needs to be computed based on the current row context. Basically, all the data fields, all the information related to the current row that Power BI is working on. Okay. Again, when Power BI is trying to construct a calculated column, it's gonna do the computation row by row. Okay. So when Power BI is working on a particular row, it's gonna rely on the information related to that row. Basically, all the data fields located in that row. Okay. So, for example, if Power BI is working on this current row, which is related to Apple on, say, March 30th, 2023. Okay, so based on the current row, then Power BI will know, okay, the current partition is going to be Apple in the first quarter of 2023 because the date is related to the first quarter, right? So now the current partition is determined by the row context Power BI is currently working on. All right. So once that current partition is known, then Power BI, through the index function, Power BI is going to retrieve the last trading day for Apple in the first quarter of 2023. Okay, so that's how this first step works.